Hey.
In this video, I'm going to be teaching you the 7 principles of design. I'm going to be teaching you the 7 principles of design. When we talk about principles of design, what do we mean? Okay? Alright, so principles of design, okay? These are principles that highlight the fundamental aspects of what makes design not only appealing to the eye, okay, but what? But fundamental, functional, and useful for our everyday use, okay? That is what we call principles of design, and we are going to be seeing 7 of them. In the first case, we are going to take the first one, okay, which is what? Balance. Which is balance. What is balance? Balance is how the elements within a composition are arranged either symmetrically, asymmetrically, or radially to create the impression of everything in weight or importance. Okay? So, look at the example on your screen. Now, when you look at the example on your screen, okay, you will see that the design is balanced. Okay? It is balanced. What do I mean by it is balanced? Look at the shapes. Look at the way they have been placed. Okay? They have been placed in such a way that they are either arranged symmetrically, asymmetrically, or radially. Okay? This gives an appealing feature to the design. Look at the square, the yellow, okay, and see the way they are being placed. Alright, so that is balance, which is the first principle of design. The second principle of design is scale. Okay, scale. This is an easy one, right? How big or small something is. Scale affects how something is balanced. Okay, the phrase bigger is always bigger, better. Okay, it is not always the case in design. Sometimes tiny elements can call attention just as effectively as something large. It is the message that you are trying to convey in your design. So that is scale. Now let's look at an example of scale. Look at the design on your screen, okay, and you can see the changes in the scale. So when you are designing, you have to play along among the shapes that you have in your design, ranging from square to circle, how big, how small, that makes your design appealing to the eyes. Now, the next principle is contrast. Okay, contrast. What is contrast? When we talk about contrast, okay, it has to do with whatever you ever looked at something, or whenever you looked at something that makes your eyes hurt. Okay, for we can say a diner menu or a dinner menu that had a red background but yellow type. Okay, or a newspaper ad that is barely legible because the dark gray type was printed against the black ink. This is a form of lack of contrast. Or the arrangement of opposite elements, red and yellow, are not far enough from each other, okay, on the color wheel to be distinguished and known to the eyes. So the color conflict with each other, and the result is literally headache. So when you talk about contrast in your design, you can play along with this kind of example. So when you look at the design on your screen, you can see the contrast between the shapes and the background. It is really good, appealing to the eyes. So when you are doing a design, select a contrast of colors that are far from each other. Don't select colors that are too close to each other. They are going to give you a contrast that you will not really like in your design. So let us go to the next principle of design. The The next principle of design is pattern. Okay, is pattern. Pattern is the repetition of specific visual elements such as single unit or multiples of multitudes. Pattern is the repetition of specific visual elements such as single unit or multitude of forms. Patterns can be used to create balance, okay, organize surfaces in a consistent manner, or create contrast. Guys, an example of this are department store floor tiles. Okay, while they serve as a decoration, they have another purpose. They lead the customer throughout the store. Okay, so that is what we mean by patterns. So let us look at an example of pattern. When you look at the design on your screen, you will see a kind of appealing pattern to the design that makes it good. So when you are doing your design, you have to give a range, a pattern range that is appealing to the eyes. So just play around the things that you have on your design and you will have an amazing design. Guys, you are not really ready for this. Okay, so let's get to the next principle. Now the next principle is movement and rhythm. Okay, is movement and rhythm. I think that should be the second to the last principle. Movement is how the eye moves throughout the composition, leading to the attention from one aspect to another. This can be achieved by using repeating or alternating elements or patterns. How often something repeats and the intensity of its contrast creates rhythm. Okay, so let us look at an example. So when you look on your screen, you will see an example of movement and rhythm. So your design should have something, okay, that is appealing to the eyes. Just play around and you'll see how it goes. So let's go to the last but not the least. Now guys, the last but not the least, okay, of the design principle is emphasis. Okay, when we talk about emphasis, what do we really mean? Emphasis, did that get your attention? That is the question. When you say emphasis, does it trigger anything in you? This is when a specific element is given to a distinguishing feature to separate it from a certain element or group. This can be achieved through other principles such as contrast, movement, scale, or balance. Guys, so when you make use of contrast, make use of movement, scale, and balance, you are creating what? Emphasis. Okay, that makes your design appealing to the eyes. So guys, let us look at an example. When you look on your screen, okay, you see a kind of beautiful background, dotted background, or you see an exclamation sign with at the middle of the design. Okay, that gives a kind of appealing feature to the design. When you look at designs having such emphasis, you will really like them. So when you are designing, try to do everything possible to create what? Contrast. Okay, to create contrast, movement, rhythm, scale, and so on and so forth. Guys, you are going to love your design. Now the last one is unity. What happens when you put it all together? What happens when you combine all these principles and put them together? How do all of these elements work with one another? The way elements are arranged so that the image is seen as a whole and overall creates a visually compelling composition, and so on and so forth, which is what we call unity. So when you combine all the 7 principles in your design, it gives unity to your design, which makes it very good. Okay, look at the future, look at the image, look at the design on your screen. You see that in this design, they have combined all the 7 principles, creating a unity. Okay, let me say 6 principles with the unity, making the 7. So when you combine everything, contrast, okay, in fact, when you combine all the 7 principles, and you will have a design, okay, which is good, appealing to the eyes, and that is the game. That is where people are being able to create designs that you will like. When you look at the design, you actually like it. So these are the 7 principles, guys. Please go ahead and you will put these into use. So guys, there you have them. These are the core principles of design. Okay, as you might have noticed by now, all 7 principles work in tandem with each other. When you alter the scale, that affects the overall balance. When you play with the contrast, you can create emphasis. You touch anything and it can mess with overall unity, and so on. Design is function and form working together. So guys, this was all for this video. See you in another video.
Hey.